But I think the turning point of my career was when I started working with a cost accountant. Yeah, navigating through and understanding those cultural nuances in a business project was very key. The company should have enough cash flow, to survive those difficult decisions. I went to South America, then I came to Europe, and I looked at the existing budgeting.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, the podcast series by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. I'm Priya George, and today we are beyond excited to bring you a conversation with a true financial maestro, a leader who's navigated some of the most dynamic and demanding industries across the globe. With nearly 2 decades of experience in the world of finance, accounting, and business restructuring, today's guest is no stranger to turning challenges into triumphs. From spearheading strategic financial initiatives in Europe, Latin America, and Southeast Asia to leading companies through crises like the COVID-19 pandemic with impressive success. He's a name that's become synonymous with operational excellence and financial ingenuity. Meet Mr. Shambhu Kant Pankaj, a chartered accountant whose career has spanned across continents, industries, and a wide range of roles from corporate finance to post M&A restructuring. Not only did he play a pivotal role in ensuring positive EBITDA and cash flow for businesses during one of the toughest times in recent history, but his leadership in industries like automotive manufacturing, power generation, and steel has truly reshaped the way finance drives business growth and stability. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Pankaj. We are absolutely thrilled to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you for your warm welcome and kind introduction. It is truly an honor to be here today. I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to share my experience and insights. Uh, and I look forward to the conversation to provide valuable takeaways to your listeners.
Absolutely. So, without further ado, let's get right to it. So, Mr. Pankaj, your career has spanned across multiple industries and continents, from the automotive sector in Europe to steering financial strategies during the pandemic in Thailand, and so much more in between. So, given such a diverse professional journey, could you share with us what you consider to be the pivotal moment or an experience that truly shaped your career? What initially sparked your passion for finance and that early inspiration?
Yeah, Priya, I mean, your question is basically, to summarize whatever, I have done in last 20 years. So in terms of the key experience or I would say the achievement or the pivotal moment, I think in my previous experience in Thailand, I worked both in the pre-pandemic, season. Then I led the unit during the pandemic, and then post-pandemic scenario as well. So
Right.
my financial strategies that I executed in Thailand that boosted the profitability of the company in the pre-pandemic era by in a couple of years to around 20%. Uh, and we were navigating properly, but then the COVID happened, and it was like a period that tested the resilience and adaptability of the business worldwide. I mean, navigating through such an unprecedented crisis required a lot of innovative ideas and strategic decisions. So in the pandemic, I have, based on what I have done in the unit for the pre-pandemic area, which is the 2 years, 2.5 years that I worked there, I had insight into the the complete value cycle of the unit. When the pandemic happened and the volume went down drastically, I had to, decide, on wasteful expenditures, or to take some hard decisions to contain, the situation at that time. And yeah, and based on the steps that I took, which has increased the operational efficiencies, but at the same time did not compromise with the quality. So that
Right.
was, I think, managing the plant, the Techno-Metal Thailand during that period was the key achievement. But I think the turning point of my career was when I started working with a cost accountant. So as
Okay.
you know, I am a chartered accountant, but I have done my cost
Right.
accounting also. After the articleship, I decided not to work with a chartered accountant because I wanted to know what the cost accountants do. And then it changed everything for me. Why?
Okay.
Because if you understand, if a chartered accountant goes to do an audit, he doesn't need to know about the industry. But it is not
Correct.
the same with the cost accountant. A cost accountant, if he
Mm.
goes to do the audit or to prepare a cost record, he needs to understand the industry, the product, the production process, and all the cost centers that is involved to produce a product. So when I
Right.
joined this firm, that changed, my way of looking at the things. And I was deeply involved into the operation side of the finance.
Okay.
Delivering cost analysis or management consulting services, you cannot do without understanding all those things. So that was the turning point of my career. And I shifted away from, doing the audits or pure accounting to a management accountant part of the job. And thereafter, whatever I did, I worked with a petroleum exploration production company. There also, I used my insights to increase the reporting and the way it is being prepared. Then moving on to manufacturing industry with Gates, and then going overseas has been really helped through my career. Then came the international experience. As you have mentioned, working in Europe, South America, and then Southeast Asia. That gave me a
Right.
global perspective on the financial management and business operations. Each region, presented a different challenge. Uh,
Agreed.
you can very well understand, working in Brazil, which is in South America, then coming straight away to Europe, which is culturally and
Completely
linguistically very
different.
different.
Yes.
So yeah, navigating through and understanding those cultural nuances in a business project was very key. But I would say this broadened my understanding of the global market and enhanced my ability to lead the diverse team of people from different geographies and different languages. Then I think the most important experience that I wanted to share here is when I was in Germany. I was leading the controlling function of almost 25 locations, manufacturing locations are spread across EU, UK, South America. And the challenge was all the plants had a different reporting softwares that they were using. Now,
Right.
bringing all those reports into a single reporting format so that you can consolidate and then
Yeah.
bring, a consolidated report for the management was a challenge, but I successfully achieved it just because of I would say I had a good interpersonal relationship skills. I make friends very quickly with people across different regions. And the thing is, I'm able to convey my message in the right spirit and the right direction, which is well understood and well appreciated by all those leaders of the finance in those plants, and then they supported me wholeheartedly so that I can achieve it. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, within a short span of time, the management was having a monthly report for all the entities, and then the budgeting and the forecasting process was also forming part of it. So, in a summary, I
Right.
would say my career has been shaped by a lot of pivotal moments and experiences that has increased my skills, broadened my perspective, and increased my ability to do strategic decisions or lead organizations uh, of multiple geographical presence, and then uh,
Understood.
achieve the excellence and business growth in future.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you for sharing those anecdotes with us. What I took away from your response was I think if one has the right intent, uh, then I think it's easier to overcome those challenges, which I think also helped you when you were able to communicate and are communicating with people from different cultural backgrounds.
True.
Right. So, when Mr. Pankaj, when we look at an incredibly challenging time in history called as COVID-19 pandemic, businesses worldwide were forced to adapt and make difficult decisions. Now, given your expertise in cost optimization and restructuring, what were some of the key lessons that you learned about maintaining financial stability during such a time? How did you balance immediate survival versus long-term sustainability?
Yeah, Priya, I mean, COVID-19 was a period where challenge was there everywhere, on a personal front, on professional front, and everywhere.
Agreed.
And at this point of time where you have to lead a manufacturing plant which is having almost 1,600 employees working, and some of them have to work very closely. I mean, forget about those the restrictions forced by the COVID-19 pandemic. This was a real challenge, and the immediate requirement was if the business has the liquidity, then only it can survive. So in terms of the immediate challenge, the steps that had to be taken was to maintain the financial stability of the company. The company should have enough cash flow to survive the difficult decisions, uh, at the same time making sure that none of the value chain gets disturbed in between. And at the same time, you also have to keep a human angle to kind of take care of the needs. But yes, I mean, during this pandemic, while you are taking the steps which is going to take some hard steps which can really disturb some of the value chains, but looking at a long term perspective was always desired. So what I did is, since I already had those ideas, how to implement and what to implement in terms of achieving the cost optimization, uh, I also invested on the technologies that is going to help us on the long run. So I had an investment plan with a very clear-cut idea. So I mean, just as a perspective of Thailand, it's a low-cost country, something like India also. So in that plant, or in that region, actually, the manufacturing is not 100% automatic. It's a mix of automatic and manual. Yeah. So a lot of manpower is involved. So while the business went down, the easiest part to decide is about the manpower. And
Understood.
understanding the socio-economic culture and the system of manpower being available in that region is also something similar like India. So India, you have Nepal, you have Bangladesh, you have Bhutan. So you will see a lot of manpower working in India who is coming from these regions.
Agreed.
Similarly, in Thailand also, they have countries like Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Burma, and then with all those adjoining regions from where the people
Yeah.
come to do the earning. But these people are not able to get permanent jobs because of the
Hmm.
visa requirements and all. So they are temporary people. You work as a contract people with them. So taking a decision to reduce the cost, you just ask them to sit at home and you are done with that. But that's a temporary situation. So what happened? Everybody knew during the COVID, you reduce your headcount, these people will not stay in Thailand. They will go back to their home. But when the
Agreed.
volume comes back, you will not be able to get them immediately. It will take at least 2 to 3 months of time. and maybe somebody has decided not to come back. So what was the immediate challenge is how to react when we have the volume coming back after COVID. So there I made this the systematic plan of investments to automatize our operation system where manpower was heavily required
Mm.
to give sustainability a boost in the post pandemic era, and then the company can thrive when the volume comes back. In terms of you know it gave me a lot of insights into my leadership skills. Why? Because leading through the pandemic, you need to have both a blend of being hard, being empathetic, having transparent
Understood.
view, communicating to everyone, keeping the
Yes.
team along, was very key challenge. But I think this period has provided me a extensive learning experience and how to deal with a situation of a crisis like this. And the key thing is that you need to have a balance of both the being very very strict in terms of the performance, but at the same time
Correct.
having an empathetic approach. So yeah,
Understood.
that's the summary about the intense learning and growth that I have achieved during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you for sharing your response, Mr. Pankaj. And it's definitely fascinating to hear how you balance the numbers with the human element during such an unprecedented time. Mr. Pankaj, with your expertise in budgeting, forecasting, and financial reporting, can you share a particular instance where your insights or recommendations directly impacted the financial growth or operational efficiency of the company you were working with?
Yeah, sure. And yeah, I must tell you, budgeting and MIS, the Management Information System, it's
Yes.
something which has been my area of interest right since the beginning.
Okay.
Uh, so if you look at my profile, I started after my qualification. I started as a deputy manager budget and MIS in a power generation company. So
Okay.
after the cost accounting experience that I shared, I always wanted to, work in an area which is of use to the management.
Hmm.
Because management, this is something, which management is always interested to look into. The how my year is going to look like, whether a short range plan or a long range plan, which is a budgeting. Sometime it's just for 1 year, or sometime it ranges up to 5 years, or then
Hmm.
forecasting. Like when we started the year, how did we look like our business? And now when you go into the period, how is the business looking like? So that's pretty close to my heart, this particular topic. And throughout my I would say experience, 90% of my work is in this field of work only.
Okay.
Uh, and I won't say I won't discuss the areas where it was like already established system, which I just have to work around. But I would like to share my experience where I really made a difference. The first one is when I went international. I went to South America, then I came to Europe, and I looked at the existing budgeting structure. And since it was a new acquisition by an Indian group, it had to change drastically because it was based on a local requirement or an European requirement, which is
Hmm.
not so much detailed and having a micro level detail to the budget.
Hmm.
Whereas the Indian mindset is completely different. They just don't look at the high level numbers. They look
Hmm.
at the individual building blocks of the budgeting process. So when I took up this task in Brazil, I try to help them, get into as much detail as possible. And same I applied in Italy. But then when I got the role of a central controlling function where I had to, summarize a report for 25 locations, there the challenge was for me to prepare a system which not only is common to all the 25 locations, but also gives all kinds of perspective to the management.
Understood.
So there in that role in MTech for Holding in Germany, I along with my colleagues, and when I say colleague, it's my own department, a few people, and then all the finance leads sitting at the plant. Those people were my team, and I worked with them, understood their local, reporting structures, then made a linkage between the local and the controlling, the central definition that we have for particular things, and then we developed this particular, um, a consolidated budget for the management. Now, where this added value was providing a benchmark. You
Okay.
see, 25 locations having similar business, which is automotive parts manufacturing. Some of them are having a totally automatic process. Some of them are having mix of automatic and manual process. And some of them, yeah, are house, whether, I mean, technically, in automotive industry, you have hot forging, you have cold forging, you have cold forming. So, understanding all those things and then using the benchmark, that similar plant in that particular region is having this kind of cost structure. Why the other plant is having a different cost structure in terms of material, in terms of labor, or in terms of overheads. So when I prepared a consolidated format uh, for the budgeting part, this has thrown a lot of information for the management to really challenge the existing cost structure of the plants. And when we really questioned into it, we got to know that using the experience of other plant which are doing very well, the cost structure of the other plants can be improved. And that's the real value addition the management got. And I think after 1.5 years of cycle, we had almost similar cost structure in the plants, and the profitability, and that not only that profitability, which is P&L, it's the cash. The liquidity part of the earning has increased manifolds. So that was one. And then when I came to Thailand, it was in fact much worse than what I have seen in Europe. So it was pretty high level report, sales, and then using the historical percentage to calculate the cost, and then done with it. This is my budget. And no challenge towards the numbers, no target given. No, you are saying 5% EBITDA. We say, no, you need to achieve 10% EBITDA. No challenge. But when I went there, I understood everything. And then before the budgeting process would start, I developed, along with the discussion with the team, I developed a model of budgeting where each and every building blocks, the information is coming directly from those departments or the functional heads. I made all of them to prepare their own budget. How much of manpower you need if production team is giving this much of production target for the next year, how much of material is required, that is from the operations and the production department. So I mean, in summary, I prepared a budgeting process, and it on not only budgeting process, actually it led to the cash flow information as well. Earlier it was only P&L budget, there was no cash flow. But then what I implemented is a budget which has got a P&L and a balance sheet and then a cash flow, which is, where the management is looking at, if at this particular level of sales you are going to earn this much, and this earning is going to generate so much of cash flow. And why the cash flow was important, because this is what will help the management to approve the investment decisions.
Agreed.
When the plant is earning money, then only it can ask for budget to do the capital expenditures. If you are not earning money, how can you get even a budget of the capital expenditure? But
Agreed.
this helped the management to look at it and then kind of go into the critical areas where they can. And in automotive industry, Priya, every decision has some time frame attached to it. Whether it is development a new product or new customer, minimum 3 years. Minimum 3 years you need to develop a product or a customer. And then if you have to take a investment decision for that particular product or customer, you need to decide in time. Okay. So why this budgeting linked with the cash flow was important for the management is because they then though they have the clear understanding on how much they are going to earn, and then how much earning will be converted into cash, and how that cash can be utilized to reinvest into the business and then have a sustainable view of the whole business. So yeah, that's the two I would say the major achievements in terms of budgeting, forecasting that I achieved. And in turn, I mean, this has helped us during the COVID-19 pandemic because once the budgeting process was robust, we had made those sensitivity analysis also part of the budgeting exercise.
Yes.
Where if your volume goes down by 10%, how and where which of the parts needs to be adjusted to stay positive in
Mm.
terms of the profitability. And that's the achievement of my leadership during the COVID-19. The plant was positive in EBITDA and the cash flow.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing such a powerful example of impactful leadership. Mr. Pankaj, you have experience working across different stages of the business cycle, from early startups to established multinational companies. How do the financial strategies and priorities differ at each stage? And how does one adapt?
Priya, I mean, I would say in principle, I have not been a part of any startup business as such. I mean,
Okay.
typically, if you say what a startups looks like nowadays, but a startup, I would still, relate to my experience when a new business is being acquired by an existing, player in the market. So the
Mhm.
Indian companies which acquired the business in Europe and South America, where I was the first one to be in the plant, I would take it as a startup challenge for me. You know,
Mm.
what will you
Okay.
do on the very first day when you go to a new business that you have received or you bought? How will you react to that? So, in terms of startup or an early stage decisions, the focus is really the two major. One is the liquidity, and the other is what is the risk. You know, so first of all, you have to understand what is the earning pattern of the company, what is the
Mhm.
sales, how the sales is converted. Sorry, how the production converts into a sale, and when sale happens, how long that sale converts into in your cash. So
Correct.
understanding this cycle and finding out some of the areas of improvement to have very quick benefit on the cash flow, it was the first thing that had to be looked at. But at the same
Mm.
time, any risk that would arise in the short term situation was the real focus. So let's say typically, I mean, it doesn't happen in India. It was very surprising for me as well when I went, outside India for the first time. In
Okay.
almost all the geographies in Americas or in Europe, there is a concept called 13th salary. So they get
Okay.
bonus and they call it 13th salary.
Okay.
I went in August and December. The Christmas bonus or 13th salary is what is to be paid, and it is a huge amount. 1 month salary to be given to every employee, you know,
Wow.
and that's a hit on the cash flow like anything. That was a
Mm.
real risk that had to be catered to, and I only came to know when I implemented the cash flow forecast. So I was looking at the liquidity planning and was trying to make, how is this year end looking like, dividing into weeks and then combining into months linked with the profit and loss. So liquidity was looking okay. We are fine. Okay. There are some areas
Mm.
where we can improve and then it can increase. We had the plan. But all of a sudden, when you read at the end of the December and you see what, why I am earning negative cash this month? Oh my God, what is this amount in the manpower cost? Then you see a bonus. Oh my God. Then you want to know about it, what it is, how. So, I got 3 months to plan for it, uh, get it approved by the Indian management, because at that time there was no immediate source of funding available. So, in summary, the early stage or to startups, the two things are very key. One, very critical. One is the liquidity part. So how will you run the business? You have the cash, enough cash or in hand or not. And the second is risk. What are the risks the business can have in the short range to survive? But yeah, I
Right.
mean, and then once you have catered to these two things, the second thing is how you ramp up. You
Agree.
started the business today, you have this much of sales, but you want to grow,
Yeah.
grow
Take
by
it to the
months
next stage.
or six
Yes.
months or year or 2 years or 5 years, depending on the business cycle. The third most critical part is the scalability, whether the company is equipped to handle and have enough resources, and then how those resources will be arranged and then has to be provided in time for the business to grow. But yeah, I mean, once this startup things is done for an existing management, well, it's a very different ball game altogether. They don't really bother about the short term parts. They always look at the long range
No.
planning. How
Yeah.
is my, also to say, the vision statements? Every company which is established has a vision statement. Now, vision
Right.
is something which goes beyond 5 years, maybe 20
Exactly.
years, depends on
Yes.
on the kind of manufacturing it has. So for the existing businesses, existing enterprises, the most critical part that they look at is the long range planning,
Mm.
and the second one is uh, how that long range plan is going to be
Mm.
achieved, simply because first of all, the top line, the sales,
Mm.
whether they can achieve whatever they are targeting. So the sales department or the marketing department is working on how to increase the sales, how to position
Mm.
yourself in the market. So those things are there. So that market positioning is becomes the second most critical area. But after you can assure yourself of the sales or the top line, then comes how you're going to achieve those sales. And then making sure that you achieve it at lower and lower and lower, in terms of cost and expenses and better efficiency, so that it results into higher margins of profitability uh,
Right.
going forward. So
Understood.
yeah, I mean, for an established business, it's all long range
Completely
plan and then
different. Yeah.
implementation of the same.
But Mr. Pankaj, on a lighter note, so was the 13 salary, I mean, did you do away with it or was it still there?
No, you can't do it. It's part of the system. Everybody is waiting for Christmas bonus. You
So
can't do
how,
away with it.
yeah, so it was still there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
still, the practice still continued.
yeah. It's just that you need to arrange for the fund because you have a huge dip in your net cash flow. How,
Right.
whether you have an opening balance to match this outflow or not. If you
Correct.
don't have, you
Makes
will not be
sense.
able to pay the 13th salary. You will fail, and this failure is going to cost you anything. I mean, all the labor can go to the court, insolvency,
Right.
whatever.
Oh,
You don't know. So,
oh,
Priya, I
wow.
mean, labor laws implementability in overseas markets as compared to India is completely opposite.
Hmm.
There, labor can get a judgment and huge penalty on the company within 6 months.
Hmm.
Come to our country. Here, people have
Yes.
to fight years and years to get the due, and
What
there
is
is no
rightfully
surety they
theirs.
will get anything.
Absolutely.
So the risk
Absolutely.
was that the plant should have enough liquidity to pay the bonus on time and not fail about it. It's a
Right.
big risk.
Right. Um, Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that and thank you for sharing those insights with us. Mr. Pankaj, it's clear that you've already achieved so much in your career. As you look ahead, what are your aspirations for making an even greater impact in the boardroom? What do you see as the next step in your journey?
Well, Priya, I mean, yeah, looking at my journey of last 20 years that I have done. And the most the unique part of is having a combination of domestic as well as a global experience. And when I say, I don't use the word international because international doesn't really give whether one geography or two geography. Why I say global? Because I have been in different continents taking care of it. But yeah, I mean, now how I look towards establishing myself in the boardroom situation is uh, based on what I have done. I have developed my ability to do the strategic decision making. Uh,
Mm.
Look at a business from a vision point of view. You know
Right.
how the business should look like, and doing business in a very innovative way. I mean, uh, sitting at the board, sometimes based on your experience, you kind of give the CEOs or the CFOs ideas, how they can implement, the same strategy in a better way. So, what I'm looking at is, first of all, based on my experience, I want to foster a culture of innovation in an organization, because
Okay.
in the changing environment today, you cannot be doing the business as you have been doing 1 year or 2 year
Agreed.
or 5 years back. Look at the
Agreed.
AI today. you know it has changed everything, how you look at the business. Then the most
Absolutely.
important part is, and this particular thing I would like to stress more upon, because I have looked at the businesses both in India and overseas. And this brings me to a very critical topic, which is called corporate governance.
Mm.
Corporate governance, theoretically, everybody talks about it. But when it comes to practical, there are very few, geographies I have seen which follows this particular topic in letter and in spirit, you know.
Agreed.
And to some extent, this has to be taken because of the promoter-owned culture. Go to Europe, all the businesses are more or less family owned. In the past, now it has
Mm.
lenders are there, financial institutions are there. So what I based on my experience, I would like to stress upon the corporate governance part, try to improve it into the system, make it a part of the decision making process, so that the decisions are ethical, accountable, and transparent, because these are
Right.
the key building blocks of a corporate governance structure. And with this kind of approach, the same business, when it presents the results, it has got more acceptability, more credit attached to it.
Mm.
So that's the second part of it. And then driving, the business with a sustainability approach, but at the same time having a social responsibility attached to it.
Mm.
Now, businesses can grow, it can go up to any level, but unless otherwise it is also takes care of the social responsibility,
Right.
then it is not returning anything back to the society.
The
You know,
ESG principles, like,
exactly. ESG
yeah.
principles is what I don't give it a technical name, because when I look at the business, I have seen so many businesses just trying to focus on, and then geographies also.
Mm.
Go to
Correct.
America, profit is only important. Come to Europe,
Social.
there social is more, environmental is more important.
Correct.
Come to Thailand, which has got more of influence of China and Japan, do whatever,
Yes.
just earn money, something like that, So, yeah, unless otherwise you are returning back to the society, taking care of the social responsibility part, any sustainable growth is not possible, and it's not going to help the society as a whole. So next step in my journey, of course, the boardroom role. I'm
Correct.
looking forward to implement my experience on the global perspective of running the business, then helping organization navigate the complex global challenges, because today you cannot be domestic. I mean, unless if you
Mm.
have this kind of approach, you are going to die down in a very short period of time. You need to have your
Right.
approach as global. And since I have spent time in multiple geographies, I know the challenges that a business can immediately face. So I can help them with that perspective, and then help them seize new
Right.
opportunities also uh,
Right.
in doing the business. Then the most important part that I am looking at is, and I think everybody will agree to me on this, is when you get experience, you get it from so many things. You do mistakes, you learn from it, and then you grow. I
Absolutely.
want to use my experience to hone the cap of a mentor. Like if I'm sitting at
Absolutely.
a
Yes.
board, I want to give a mentorship role or a leadership role, sorry, the tutor or a faculty
Yes.
role for the leadership of the company. I want to share them, I want to nurture their skills, I want to enhance their skills, to learn from my experience and then grow and then help the company and society as a whole. So
Right.
I would say in summary, is what I would like to do in the next role.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your aspirations with us. And I'm sure there's much more to come. And it'll be exciting to watch your journey unfold. Speaking about sustainability, you've also, in the question that I will pose now, you've mentioned a few aspects of it, but we'd love for you to share some more insight on financial sustainability. Um, how have you incorporated sustainable financial practices in your projects, and what role do you think finance professionals play in fostering sustainability within companies?
Well, Priya, I mean, everybody. So if you once you do the business, what comes out of the business? If I may just slightly digress from technical things and all.
Yeah,
What comes out in front of everybody is the financial reports, with certain
absolutely.
descriptions forming part of the compliances or other reporting structures. So this is where the finance comes into play. The business
Mhm.
works 24/7 to achieve the top line by implementing so many short-term decisions and all. But then the main thing that comes out for everybody to see is that financial report. So when you talk about sustainable finance practices, I would say in essence, the financial, the practice itself is something which is going to be there for a long time. It is just that uh, it should also have the same view. So, I mean, I just put it differently. Being a finance person, sometimes somebody is only preparing the accounts as a short-term view. Okay, this is a
Mm.
compliance part. But some of the finance professionals doesn't look at as just a compliance. They look at it as business report, is going to the management, and it helps the
Right.
management to take decisions which is impacting the management on a long run. So once
Right.
you have this kind of approach, then the this practice is called sustainable finance practice. Now, what
Understood.
are the other building blocks it has? I would say any investment decisions, which is long range in timeline, it has to be supported by the financial analysis. The
Mm.
the finance department has to look into the details. Let's say, for example, when I was leading the company during COVID, Uh, in my P&L, the expense was the electricity part because it was an iron casting, a
Mm.
furnace business. Furnace consumes hell
Oh,
lot of electricity. So
correct.
power was one of the most significant part of the P&L. I
Mm.
wanted to implement a renewable energy installation in the plant so that we can reduce on that expenses. Now
Mm.
it needed investment, but then I prepared a
Long
plan.
term.
Exactly. I prepared a plan which showed them the savings that we will achieve, And then the most
Mm.
important part is that the government is giving you incentives. So
Correct.
when you look at this particular thing, then this decision doesn't look like it's a huge investment because the payback
Agreed.
period is much reduced. So
Agreed.
for in terms of the financial practice, the sustainable part is the one thing. Then uh, the the green financial concept. What is
Mm.
green financial concept? Is I think you must have heard about European countries taking a decision that they will only procure from a supplier who are carbon zero or has a plan to
Mm.
become carbon negative. You
Less
know,
carbon footprints. Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
zero to
So
less. Yeah.
yeah, so looking at the finance departments, when we are doing a budget, when we are planning for the future, finance department can play a pivotal role in developing financial policies or encourage a sustainable business practice which has got these kind of concepts which makes the company become more environmental friendly, having a whole value chain which is more green, and then having a negative carbon emission norms being fulfilled. So that's the second part
Understood.
of it. Then transparency is something which is whole finance department or finance, a sustainable financial practice can bring into picture. How much of the details that you want to bring in, whether your financial reports are reliable, uh,
Mm.
the more open, transparent, and clear and detailed disclosures are there, it has got more acceptability, especially in terms of environmental impact or energy consumptions or carbon
Mm.
footprint and all. So financial reporting with a transparent information also leads to a sustainable financial practices. But now balancing the approach is more important because it's not easy. It's not easy for
Agreed.
because finance department is not something which does by itself. Businesses is done by others, sales, marketing,
Agreed.
purchases, human resource. Finance department is somebody who collects all the informations, put together in a summarized form for everybody to see. But then
Agreed.
once the plan is there with this approach, then everybody falls in line, and then in the actual period, people can see. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, in sustainable achieving that sustainable objectives, finance department does a very important role.
Crucial
Cost
role.
and benefit
Yes.
analysis. Okay, somebody is
Right.
coming up with an approach. Okay, we can do this, and then we can be sustainable in future in terms of reducing the cost and all. But whether it is beneficial cost wise also, investment wise also.
Right.
So
Right.
so those things are there. Risk management is other thing where the finance department plays a very key role. Decision
Mm.
making, accountability, and then
Mm.
educating and encouraging people to
Right.
take decisions which is encouraging cost saving, risk mitigation and all. So yeah, these
Correct.
are some of the areas where the finance department, or so to say the sustainable finance practices can be nurtured and enhanced by the role of a finance director or the board member.
Thank you. That was a very interesting and powerful perspective. Mr. Pankaj, you've been closely involved with Directors Institute, and we'd love to hear about your experience so far. How has your journey with the Institute been, and in what ways has it influenced your perspective on leadership and governance?
Oh yes, I mean yeah, so I came back to India last year only, and as you know, I have been out of the country for 10 years, and coming back to the system has forced me a lot of challenge. The laws have changed, the practices have changed, uh, accounting standards have changed, everything. I mean, it has got a paradigm shift in a decade or something. So the immediate challenge was for me to find a platform which gives me that opportunity, to quickly
Understood.
understand and in that process, you have, learned everything. So when I got into this webinar of Directors Institute and I went through the program details and all, it immediately interested me. I mean, I straight away got into the call with the representative, and then she explained me everything about how it is going to be, the learning things and all. So I would say, my experience so far with the institute is incredibly enriching and transformative. And
That's great.
uh, if I want to give bullet points to it, first of all, it is a comprehensive program. So I am enrolled for the independent directors, the ESG experts, the digital director, international director. So whole thing is coming as a package for you to you have that working experience with you, but how that
But
working
it's,
experience
yeah,
can be put into practice and
yes.
how you will get that opportunity into the market, it's something which is packaged in this particular program.
Like
So that
concept to context.
exactly,
Concept,
concept
yeah,
to context or concept to practice.
yes.
So how you will do that. Then secondly was, these kind of things, the one that I'm doing with you right now, or the other things that I have done, the seminars or the workshops. So recently I had one boardroom session also, where I have around 10 participants, and we shared the perspective of on a single topic from people with coming from different experience and different industry. So you very quickly get to know, different perspective of looking at a particular topic that has been given for your discussion, or being as a board member, actually, whether you will accept it or reject it. That's the second most important part. And then the most critical is networking opportunities.
Hmm.
I
Agreed.
I share my personal experience with you, and I really did that miss that in India. So in Thailand, there are chamber of commerces which
Okay.
organize almost every weekend some meet and greet programs.
Oh,
Yeah. So every
okay.
Friday, some the group of Chamber of Commerce will organize a program where the industry leaders will come, just meet with different people, exchange ideas. So that's the
Got
networking
it.
that is happening automatically there. But I was not able to find anything. But then when I enrolled or associated with the Directors Institute, this is coming pretty handy for me. I mean, I have people across, who I can interact. I'm already part of so many LinkedIn groups
Share
where
experiences,
exactly, yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of groups that is there who is sharing their views, and it's already enriching your knowledge, and then you also kind of share your thoughts and get inputs on that. So
agreed.
yeah, I mean, I
Yes.
really find it very useful, and I'm really looking forward to increase more and more on that once I complete the entire curriculum. And the most important part is the governance. Again, I'm coming back to the governance
Yes.
because this is something which I am learning more and more. Ethical part of the business, ethical leadership, corporate governance, strategy governance, compliance. And I'm being very focused on India right now is because, as I told you, I have been missing this part. But yes, the Director Institute is putting everything to me in a very handy and easy to access form, along with an opportunity to interact with people coming from
Absolutely.
different experience. Yeah, so I'm really
Yes.
grateful to the institute, and I really look forward to complete this program with flying colors.
All the best, Ms. Pankaj. And it is great to hear how impactful your experience with the Directors Institute has been. And thank you for your kind words. As we come to the end of this insightful conversation, I just want to take a moment to say thank you, Mr. Pankaj, for sharing your incredible journey with us today. Your experiences, wisdom, and thoughtful perspectives on leadership, governance, and the ever evolving business landscape have been nothing short of inspiring. We are so grateful for the time you've taken to join us on FaceTime with Leaders, and I'm sure our listeners will walk away with very valuable lessons from your journey. So, Thank you for being with us today.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so very much, Priya. I really appreciate, this platform given by Directors Institute. It was great interacting with you and sharing my experience. And in looking back, what I have done is really, it's great, and I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Pankaj. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us on this episode of FaceTime with Leaders. We hope today's conversation sparked new ideas and gave you a fresh perspective of leadership, business, and growth. As we wrap up, remember that every step you take in your professional journey adds to your story, and the challenges you face today shape the success of tomorrow. Keep striving, stay curious, and continue to lead with purpose. Until next time, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.